how to encrypt and decrypt messages on Kali Linux using public key cryptography. So usually you will have two users, a sender and a receiver. However, in this case, I will be using two accounts to demonstrate a sender and a receiver. So one account will be Bob and the other account will be Alice. All right, so before we begin, we'll be using public key cryptography. What this means is that the receiver will need to generate the public and private key pairs and then send the public key to whoever will be sending the message, in this case Alice. So Alice will now encrypt a message using Bob's public key and send the encrypted message to Bob, while Bob will use his private key to decrypt the message that has been sent by Alice. Alright, so I'm going to create a shared folder at the home directory now. Shared folder, call it shared folder. And I want to make sure that every user can create and execute files in this folder. So we are going to change the mode for everybody for um, let's locate our file. Okay, sorry, let's move this folder back to the home directory. So I'm going to cd home and then we'll make the directory there. This will make for easy accessibility. All right, so I'm going to enable everyone to execute and write files. To do that, I'll do change mode and then we're going to enable it across board, home, shared folder. So everyone can now write and execute files to this folder. All right, so let me switch to one of the accounts. So I'm going to switch to Kali. Now this will be Bob. So let's go ahead and open another tab and switch to another user on this machine, which I have named colleague. This will be Alice. So I'm going to name this session to Alice, and this one I'm going to rename it to Bob. What's happening? Okay, let's create a new tab. I think I mistakenly closed that tab. So I'm going to switch to Kali and name the session to Bob. Okay. All right, let me clear the terminal and also clear the terminal here. All right, so Bob is the person that Alice will be sending the message to. So Bob needs to generate a public key and a private key pair, and we'll be using the GPG package to do that. In order to do that, we will say sudo GPG full generate key. This will generate a public key and a private key pair. So we hit enter. So it's asking us to select the kind of key we want. We'll just go ahead and go with the default, which is 1, and then hit enter. It takes the default there. So how long do we want our public private key to be valid for? So I'll just say 1 week, for example, like that. Is this correct? It's going to ask us yes. Go ahead and type Y. The real name, so let's say Bob. Okay, Bob must be at least, say name must be at least 5 characters long. So let's say Bob receiver. Email address bob@bob.com. It doesn't really matter. So comment, let's say Bob's key. So it's asking us if this is correct. So everything seems all right. So I'm going to type O for OK. Now it's going to ask for a passphrase. Now the passphrase is the what Bob will use to decrypt any message. So I'm going to type a passphrase. I'm going to confirm it and hit OK. All right, so it's going to ask us to type, move the key, mouse around, type more in order to generate more entropy. All right, so our public and private key pair is done. All right, now in order to share our public key with Alice, who will be sending Bob a message, we need to export the public key. In order to do that, we do sudo gpg export for then the email we use, which is bob@bob.com, and then the name of the public key. So we'll just call it bob.asc like this, and then we hit enter. Permission denied. Why? Okay, sorry. We need to move to the folder we created. So I'm going to cd home shared folder, and then I'll try to export one more time. So sudo hit that. It's already exported. So when I hit ls, I should see bob.asc here. All right. So this is what we will send to Alice to enable Alice to encrypt a message for us. All right. Now let's go over to Alice. So let's this is Alice. Let's go to the shared folder, cd shared folder, ls. We see Bob's key here. All right. So now we need to import Bob's key. So to do that, we do sudo dash import, and then what we are importing is bob.asc. All right, just as simple as this. So we've imported it, I hope. So unrecognized option. Oh, sorry. We need to do sudo gpg dash import, then bob.asc. Uh, what's the password? Okay. So uh, I missed the passwords couple times. All right, but we are good now. So we've successfully imported Bob's key. Now Alice can now use this public key of Bob to encrypt a message for Bob. Now let's create a simple text message. So we'll use the echo. Uh, this is Alice leaving a message for Bob. Okay, regards, Alice. All right, so let's save this as message for Bob.txt. All right, so when we do ls, we see that we have message for Bob here. Now, what we need to do is we need to encrypt this text message with Bob's public key, which is this bob.asc here. In order to do that, we use sudo gpg dash encrypt. Uh, we have to encrypt message. All right, like this. So enter the user ID. All right, so it's asking us for the recipient. Okay, so what we can do is we can sudo gpg want to encrypt, and then the recipient. The recipient is bob at bob.com, and then the message we want to encrypt is message for bob.txt. So we hit enter. All right, it looks like the encryption is done. So let's look at our folder. All right, so we see message for bob.text.gpg. All right, so this is the encrypted message. Now we can go ahead and remove the message for bob.text in order to prevent anyone without Bob's key from reading it. So we need to remove message for bob.txt. All right, so when we ls, we now see we only have the encrypted message. All right, so now let's go over to Bob's account. So let's do ls. Now see message for Bob here. So whoever sees this can only read the message if the person has the private key of Bob. So in this case, only Bob has his private key. So we'll now use Bob's private key to decrypt the message and see what the content is. In order to do this, we type sudo gpg decrypt and then the message for Bob that we want to decrypt. All right, when we hit enter, it's going to ask for the passphrase I used to generate the key. So I'll enter it. I'll hit OK. All right, so we see this is Alice leaving a message for Bob. Regards, Alice. All right, so this is Alice. Here you go. This is how to successfully encrypt and decrypt a message and communicate it securely on a network. All right, please follow the channel, leave a like, and then see you next time. Thank you.